to have some capital invested, because without money the idea is just useless. Also accepted the responsibility of managing the business, and also accepted the risk of failure. So to put these all together, entrepreneurs are individuals who has an idea for a business and takes the financial risk of starting and managing a new business. Now, not every entrepreneur can be successful, and to be a successful entrepreneur, there are some factors that need to be considered. Or, we could say like the characteristics of successful entrepreneurs are that they are innovative, they have ideas, and that's unique. Second comes the result driven ability. Result driven ability. If they've started a business, they would probably know the outcome of the business, what they are making, how much money would they have in these things. And then comes the other factors such as multi-skilled and leadership skilled. Now there are other factors such as good at risk taking, good at networking, being initiative, being self-confident, self-motivated, and determined. And you don't actually need to memorize them all. Just memorize a few of them to understand it, and that would be enough even if you have like questions in exam. Now, even though some entrepreneurs have these qualities, they still fail. Their businesses, they fail. And the reasons isn't just like the qualities, it's much more than that. For example, poor planning could result in being bankrupted or have the business failed. Poor choice of location, poor marketing, and then not investing in new technologies properly. And then there are other factors such as poor cash management, poor management itself, and poor marketing, lack of finances, and competition and economic influences. And as I mentioned earlier, you don't need to memorize them, but a quick way to do memorize it is that 5P FLCE. 5P stands for poor planning and lack of objective, poor cash management, poor choice of location, poor management, and poor marketing. Then FLCE stands for failure to invest in new technology, lack of finance, competition, and economic influences. This is just a quick way that I had memorized it, so I'm just saying it. Now, the next thing for an entrepreneur to have is a business plan. Business plan is a written document that outlines the whole purpose and aims of a business. Written document. And the reason for an entrepreneur to have a business plan is that it persuades lender or investors to finance in a business. And also there are many things in a business plan, as we said. The content of a business plan is all about the business entrepreneur and the aims of a business and everything. So starting with the business, B here stands for business. So the business is details about entrepreneur, their skills and management and experience, and then idea, and then expertise and managers and this kind of thing. And then comes the business opportunity. The business opportunity talks about the information about the product and why customers would buy it. Basically, why the product is unique and why would the customers buy it and how would it attract customers. So it's all about the product itself. Next thing is the market. The market is all about the current size, the potential growth, and competitors for a product. For example, if you're launching a product in an area where there are like only maybe 2,000 people, and if your product has potential to grow in that business, and if the current size of the market is good enough for your product, if maybe there are too many competitors who are like very famous and expanded businesses, then obviously there's less potential for growth for like that business, the new business. So the market is about the size. Then comes the objective of the business or the goals of the business. The objective is what the business hopes to achieve. Hopes to achieve. And next comes the financial forecast. This is a topic that we should cover in next chapters. So the financial forecast is basically a cash flow forecast and projected sales, revenue, and profit for the first year of trading. We're going to deep dive in this financial forecast in next topics, but view of it is that how the money comes into the business, if you're like taking loans or if it's because of the products, and then it's all about how the money goes out of the business. If you're spending it, then you have to like know which areas of the business that you're investing more into, and so that's all about the financial forecast for a business plan. Now, if you remember from the previous videos that we talked about size of business sectors like primary sector and tertiary sector in the previous video, we talked about measuring business size, and there are two factors that could determine their size. One was value of output. The other one was number of employees in the business. These two could measure the business sectors, like tertiary, primary, secondary sectors. But measuring the size of business, we could also see like the output for the business, the number of employees in the business, the capital employed in the business, or the money invested, and the market's share of the business, how much the business is dominating on the market. This is also a factor that could tell the size of the business. Now, some businesses, even though they have, as the entrepreneurs, they have like all the advantage of the government and the help of government, the skills that they still remain small. And the reasons are that it could be owner's choice to remain small and not expand the business. It also could be because of market size. Maybe the market doesn't have the capacity of more products, or if their products are more and there are less customers in it, so that's why they remain small. It could also be because of access and availability of the capital. Maybe they're not making enough profit, or even if there's profit, they're paying debts, and just like there isn't enough profit or capital to expand the business. And maybe because of market domination, maybe the competitors are has taken over the market, and even if they expand the business, there could be less market size for them, so that's why they're not expanding it. And some businesses, they want to grow big. Some businesses, they could want. Now, some businesses, they would like to expand their businesses, and the reasons could be to have market domination, to take over small, to increase profit, is another reason they would want to expand their business. Maybe there's like they have high sales, and if they expand, their sales would grow even bigger, so that's why they want to expand their business. It could also be because of economies of scale. Economies of scale is also not a big topic, but it just means that as businesses grow, there are less average choice. As the businesses grow, there's less average cost on products. For example, they buy raw materials in bulks, and they purchase very big, and there's discount on it for purchasing like a high amount of raw material or something. And there are also much other reasons for it, but we're not covering that right now. So economies of scale is another reason. Greater power to control the market, and protection from the risk of takeover. As we mentioned earlier, why some businesses would remain small. Some big businesses, for example, they have controlled the market and they have domination over the market. And so the other small businesses, they cannot expand their business further because of that domination and power or control over the market. So that's why some businesses would want to expand their business to have that control over the market and to be protected from the risk of takeover. Yes, different ways a business can grow. Now, there are multiple ways a a business could grow and expand their. Now, for a business to grow, there are two types. They could also internal and external. Now, there are two ways for a business to grow. One is external. One is internal. Internal is also called organic growth, and external is called integration. So, for the internal growth, they could increase the number of goods produced. This could, increase their sales, and they could have more profit, and they could also develop new products if they've already entered the market and they know what's missing in it and what could have been like a better option for the product. And they could also find new markets for their product. Maybe they're already dominating the market, so new markets and new places to have their product and could be is like a form of growth for them. It could increase their sales. Now, an external growth or integration, there are much different things in it. We're gonna need some space for it. So starting with horizontal integration, forward vertical, now for the external growth that we talked about, there are four ways a business could grow externally. One is horizontal integration. It's like primary business. That's primary business. Or secondary business with secondary business and tertiary business and tertiary business. If you don't know, primary business is involved in the extraction of natural resources, secondary is involved in the manufacturing and processing natural resources, and then tertiary is responsible for like retailing and selling these products from secondary businesses. An example, my previous example, for example, is that wood taken from primary sector sent to secondary sector for making different products from it, like furniture, chairs, and whatever, and then sold to tertiary sector for providing it for the people and selling it. So this is how the horizontal integration works. It's primary with primary, and like the same sector of business with the same sector of business. And then there is forward vertical. Forward vertical integration is like secondary business with tertiary business, or primary business with secondary business. And then backward vertical is just the opposite of forward. The missing handwriting is very messy, but the backward vertical is like tertiary business having connection with secondary business, or secondary business having connection with primary business. This is how it works. Now the last one is conglomerate integration. Now the last one is conglomerate integration. Conglomerate integration is like business and industry A with business and industry B. It's like entertainment companies having connection with hospitals, or maybe schools, or even food companies. Maybe that's like very different sector or industry of a business having connection with a different one. This is conglomerate integration, and that's the end of this chapter. I hope you enjoyed, and so that's the end of this chapter, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you.